you see all the parades, everybody's wearing red. Well, we want to see, a parade in blue. It's, bring something back to on the baseball side. So I think everyone's super excited to get it going and, see where it goes.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment.
All right, I am pumped now to welcome in Cole Ragans. Cole, first off, thank you for joining me. Really pumped to have you on, and congrats on all the success from last year, and it was so much fun to watch you down the stretch. So, one, I appreciate you hopping on, man.
Yeah, no, thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So let's start with last year. You were traded before the trade deadline from the Rangers to the Royals and were one of the best pitchers in all of baseball during the second half. So what do you remember about the day that you were traded? Were you expecting it to happen? Like, take me back to that day and what was going through your mind.
Yeah, so I had actually just gotten called back up with Texas the night before. So I was in Vegas with Round Rock, got called back up. I think it was a Wednesday, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, get called up. So that afternoon, flying to Dallas. The next morning, wake up, go to the field, go out for stretch like a normal day. And when I had gotten optioned, I was told, because I started the year as a reliever, I was told when I got optioned that, hey, we're going to build you back up as a starter. And then I got called back up and none of the starters were hurt. So, I didn't really know what my role was going to be. I kind of figured, just the long relief, kind of like the role I had been in. And so I go out for stretch. I come back in playing a little ping pong, and I get told to go see that Mike, Boch, and CY wanted to see me in Boch's office. So I'm like, all right, I assume they're gonna tell me just kind of what my role is, what the deal is, get called in, and then they tell me, hey, we've made a move. We've traded you to Kansas City. So then, come out of the office. Tell all the guys, call my wife, kind of tell her what's going on so she can start getting stuff ready. And then the next day flew to Kansas City, drove to Omaha, and kept building up as a starter.
Did you have any idea, not that trade was going to happen on that day, because obviously you didn't, but did they tell you at all, like, hey, your name's being thrown around in some potential moves, we're trying to make some ads? You had no idea?
No idea. None. I mean, I knew at the trade, like the trade deadline was obviously coming, I knew that Texas was going to make some moves.
Right.
Obviously. And just nobody really knew what the moves were going to be, who was going to be involved or anything. So it was just kind of definitely caught me a little bit by surprise. Like I said, it was also like a month before the trade deadline.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it was super early, so definitely didn't expect it. But like I said, I knew that there was definitely going to be some moves made before the deadline. Just didn't know who was going to be involved.
So you walk out and your first phone call is to your wife?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
I'm like, hello, and she knows every time I call her and I go, what are you doing? She knows that I have something to say. And so she's like, what's going on? And I was like, I just got traded. And she goes, what? And I'm like, yeah, I just got traded. And she's like, where? And I was like, Kansas City. And then so she starts kind of, a little bit of panic just because we have to pack up everything, figure out where we're going to live, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was pretty, I mean, all I had ever known prior to that was Texas. So, she had made friends with the wives and stuff. So it's definitely different for us, but all the people in Kansas City, all the wives, the guys, they, welcomed us open arms, got used to everybody pretty quick.
What finally, because once you got there, obviously the numbers were great. Your second half was awesome. And like I said earlier, one of the best pitchers in baseball, but it could have happened in Texas still. Like, was there a moment or do you remember where something just finally clicked for you? Like, was it an outing? Were you in a bullpen? Where was it? Or did it happen when you were like, aha, that's it? And just something clicked for you and you kind of felt like you figured something out?
Yeah, I mean, I got traded over there, and my first outing in Omaha, I think I gave up like 8 hits and 6 of them were to lefties.
So you
So like,
started in your
yeah,
first
yeah,
outing,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And so the next day I come in and I go to the pitching coach in Omaha and I'm like, hey, like, what is your thoughts on, starting to kind of mess with a slider, like just something to, get a little more swing and miss, a little more movement than the cutter. That way it just kind of helps against the lefties because lefties were just killing me. And so he talked to the guys up top. They thought it was a great idea. It was one of the things they wanted to do when I came over. So we started toying around with a grip and, you know, kind of went from there and then, worked on it, finally found a grip. And then I made a spot start, I want to say right after the All-Star break against Tampa. Oh, we had a doubleheader and I mixed in a couple sliders there. They were all right. And then I went back to Omaha, continued to work on it. I had a couple more starts on there and it finally started getting really comfortable with it, I felt like it was getting a little more consistent. And then right after the trade deadline, I got called up and I faced the Mets and it was really good that day. And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, like this is, kind of a little confidence boost with that pitch. And I felt like it really helped. It was just something I could go to kind of get the swing and miss. And then, as being in the bullpen, like that was my first time ever being in the bullpen. It's a lot different than starting. Starting, you get that bullpen in between, you get
Yeah.
the days in between to like kind of work on things. Where at the bullpen, it's like you got to be ready every day, and it's definitely it's different. And I don't know if it was like me getting the few extra days in between, like to work on stuff, kind of helped just get mechanics a little more synced together, stuff like that. But felt like after that Mets outing, it kind of got a little confidence from that, and then just tried to run with it, and then just focus on each outing with just trying to fill it up with my stuff, and
Yeah.
just kind of run with it.
Man, it's tough to work on shit during the season, but especially tough to like just come up with a pitch in the middle of the season. Is it something where like you got to be pumped for this year? I imagine all off season, like you finally had time to work on it, So how has this off season gone for you in the slider?
Yeah, no, definitely still tweaking it. Like,
Yeah.
it's obviously off season throwing and bullpens are a lot different than like you get back to
Yeah.
spring training. You get the adrenaline, your body's moving a little quicker than it has. So it's kind of like right now, just like the fine tuning of the slider. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, it feels good. The velo and movement are good. It's just more so the command of it. Like, hey, like I'm just like right now I'm just trying to get it to the down and away quadrant and or down and glove side, I guess. And, like sometimes it's, middle away to a lefty instead of
Yeah.
down and away. And it's just like fine tuning the feel of it again, where like you have the adrenaline and your body's moving like that. But no, through the off season, it was more so just try to build off of what we ended with. Just, I think my biggest thing was just the command of everything, just trying to fine tune the command of the stuff, and especially the slider, like just like, all right, I'm gonna put it in the zone, take it out of the zone, that kind of thing.
I think you're in a great place for you, and your career has certainly taken off since you got to KC. But was it weird at all for you to watch the World Series last year and see the team that you were with a few months prior win the World Series?
I wouldn't say weird, it was bittersweet. Like, I mean, those guys, I've have guys over there that'll be friends from the rest of my life,
Yeah.
still talk to them. I texted them throughout the playoffs, and those guys are incredible people. I mean, I pulled for them every second. I watched every single game of the playoffs from the first game to the last game. I
Yeah.
mean, it was fun to watch, especially, obviously wish you could be there. But like I said, those guys are awesome, awesome people, easy to root for, easy to pull for. So wasn't anything, I wasn't like pissed off or anything like that.
So the Royals obviously are in a position where you're starting to be able to see the light at the end of a tunnel of a rebuild. I think it was a great offseason in my opinion, but it is still a team that is looking towards the future a bit. And I almost wonder, do you get any sense of pressure after your second half? You're kind of looked at as like the ace of the future of this team. Is that something that you would take pride in? Is there pressure in feeling that already? This is really going to be like your second full season in the big leagues, you know?
I wouldn't say feel pressure by any means. We've brought in some incredible players this offseason. I mean, some guys that have been around, they've done it all. They've, been on winning teams, won World Series, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I looking forward to definitely getting to know the guys that I don't know already, well, and watch what they have and what they do every day. And definitely wouldn't say any pressure really. It's more excitement. Like I'm excited to, you know, have, I guess, I'm excited to compete. We brought in these guys to compete, to win, to get back to the playoffs. And so I'd say more excitement than anything, just because it's, we have a completely different team than last year. It's going to be fun.
I've been extremely vocal about the Royals and how much they deserve a lot of credit for their handling of the offseason, in my opinion. It's easy to, the team lost 106 games last year, and it'd be easy to say, well, 5 new additions or 10 new additions isn't going to win us a World Series. So really, why would we do it? But they went out and added a ton of pieces, and I think deserve a ton of credit for making the team competitive and taking a big step in the right direction. What does it do for the locker room and the energy in the locker room when you see the team in front office making all these moves and announcing new stadiums and stuff outside of it and locking down a stud like Bobby Witt Jr.? Like, what does that do for the team itself?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely feel the excitement in the locker room. You walk in there hanging out with the guys every day. I definitely think you can feel it. Everybody's excited to, get it going and show everyone what we're about. All the new guys, I think they're excited. A guy like Bob, I mean, locking him down, that guy is incredible player, even better, human being.
Yeah.
He's awesome. And getting to watch him play every day. And, I mean, talk about bringing back winning baseball to Kansas City. You look across the parking lot, you have the Chiefs who, I mean, year in and year out, what is it, 3 Super Bowls in the past 5 years, I think. So it's, you see all the parades of red, and I think Bob said something about this somewhere I saw. It's like you see all the parades, everybody's wearing red. Well, we want to see, a parade in blue. It's, bring something back to on the baseball side. So I think everyone's super excited to get it going and, see where it goes.
Speaking of, that guy's he's going to be an absolute superstar in the league. Also, friend of the show, came on last year. What do you think that guy's ceiling is? I mean, he looks to be the makings of a superstar.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the most special players I've ever seen play baseball. It's incredible. Like, he is on every aspect, whether it's, on the bases, in the batter's box, in the field. It's, behind the scenes, the work he puts in every day, the attitude he brings to the field every day is incredible. I mean, he's the perfect guy to, build around for the future. I mean, unbelievable person.
Speaking
and
of,
obviously player.
yeah, I mean, guy got a massive extension. Speaking of extensions, we got to get you locked up, man. Any talk with the Royals about getting you extended? Come on.
No talks. No talks.
On the other, then there's a guy like Salvi Perez, who's a veteran, also a friend of the pod. What's it like having him to lean on? A veteran catcher, a guy that's been around forever, caught so many guys, and to be able to lean on a guy like that at the end of his career and at the beginning of your career, I can only imagine helps you a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you see what that guy's done in his career. I mean, he's seen it all, and he's seen it all with the same team. He's been to the World Series with Kansas City. He's been on the, teams where they've struggled, stuff like that. It's he's fun to throw to a big target, knows what he's doing back there. I mean, the kind of person he is, I've tried to beat him to the field, and I feel like I can't beat him to the field in the morning. Like, it's even in spring training right now, it's like I try to get there, pretty early, and every morning it's like he beats me there, and I'm like, I'm gonna try 15 minutes earlier in the morning. Nope, he's still there. And it's, he's one of the first ones there, last one to leave. Works so hard, always in the best mood. All he wants to do is win. And, that's what I feel like a guy that is, the captain, the leader of the team, that's what you want, is a guy who works hard, wants nothing more than to win, and he's always in a good mood.
He's also like the nicest guy in the world, which is just
The
really
nicest.
it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Cole, I want to step back a bit and talk about 2016. You were drafted in the first round back in 2016. What was draft day like for you? Talk to me about that day.
Um, I didn't really know where I was gonna go. Obviously your agent kind of tells you,
Yeah.
hey, look in this area, these picks, like these teams. I had met with Texas earlier in my high school season, but after the dinner, I didn't hear anything, else from them. So, just didn't know. Like, obviously, Cole Hamels was who I kind of modeled my, game after a little bit, and he was the Texas Rangers. I was like, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, that night or that day, I think draft started. I watched the first couple picks, and then I pretty sure I was like playing wiffle ball with my brothers in the backyard. Like, cause I mean, the first day takes a while. There's a lot of
Yeah.
time in between picks and stuff. And it's like, I knew I wasn't going anywhere in the, I didn't even know first round was kind of, questionable.
Yeah.
So I would like come and go, and, it got to like, I think it was pick 27. My agent calls me and he's like, hey, this is what they have to offer. And I was like, all right, like that sounds great. And so I get off the phone, and my mom's like, well, I'm like, just watch, like, and
Just
then
watch.
pick 30 comes around, pick 30 comes around, and Texas took me, and it was exciting. We didn't have like a big group of people. It was like my mom, my brothers, my now wife, and that was really about it. So it wasn't a big group. We just didn't know what was going to happen that day, and kind of went with it.
That's cool. And that was in 2016. But you didn't end up making your debut until 2022. What was your minor league journey like? I was in the minors for 5 years. It is an absolute grind. What was your journey like in the minor leagues? Were there a lot of ups and downs, or was it difficult to keep pushing up through the organization, or what was your journey like?
Yeah, no, I mean, so first spring training, 17, work hard all off season, get to spring training, and like a weekend, they're like, hey, you're not breaking camp with a full season team. You're going to stay in extended. I'm like, oh, like, all righty, well, let's get used to Arizona. And so I stayed in extended, went to Spokane, short season. Went there, had a, you look at like ERA and stuff, it wasn't a terrible year, but had a lot of walks. It was like I had a few times where like walk 3, punch out 2, and get a pop up and get out of it. So a lot of walks, struggled with command.
Yeah.
And then, went to Instructs that year, went home. I was like, all right, I want to put on some weight, get a little stronger, try to gain a little velo. Come in for spring training of 18, and I make it to, I don't know, we're in March. It's like mid-March, I'd say, and have like an inter squad that day, and my arm is like, I'm like, holy cow, like something's wrong. But maybe it's just, I've been throwing a lot more, a lot more intensity. Like maybe it's one of those things in the bullpen, get to the game, and I'm throwing like 85, and I'm like, my arm's killing me. Like something's up. So called the trainer out there, go get an MRI, fully torn, like blown up elbow. Get surgery at the end of March. Go all, stay in Arizona, get a place out here. Go through my whole rehab. Go through spring training. It was great. Spring training was awesome. That was 2019 spring training. So I get to see all the guys I haven't seen, all my buddies that, went to a full season club and all of that. And they all leave, and then it's like, oh, this sucks. Like all my buddies are gone again. And but it's also like I'm getting off the mound at this time, so it's kind of getting exciting.
Yeah.
Get to it's probably, I can't remember if it's like beginning of May. I'm just finishing live BPs. I'm 2 days away from being in a game. I have a touch and feel, throw like 6 pitches, arms killing me again. And I'm like, I like just stop throwing after like 6 fastballs. And I say, I go to the trainer or the rehab staff that are standing down there kind of watching. And I'm like, hey, like, something's not right. Arm's hurting again. And so he stopped, got an MRI, tore it again. And it wasn't as bad as the first time, but still torn enough. So Dr. Meister, who did both of my surgeries, we talked to him and sit down with him and the medical staff. And, he's like, you got 2 options, essentially. Like, you can do the shutdown where it's like 8 weeks, no throw, PRP injection type thing, see where it's at, or you can have surgery all over again and go through the whole process. And so I'm like, listen, doc, like, I want you to, I told him, I was like, I want you to tell me whatever I do, I want to be done with rehab. Like, if it takes 8 weeks and then I get to throw again and and for a fact, like, I'm going to be good, or if it's, you have to open me back up and I go through the whole process all over again and I'll be good, then you tell me. And he was like, let me go back in there and, redo the surgery. And so mid-May of 19 had surgery again.
Where are you
Got
at
to go home.
mentally? Where are you at mentally right there?
Oh my, right there. I'm like, am I ever going to throw a baseball again?
Yeah.
Like, at that point, it's like, I mean, I'm like, honestly, I'm pissed off. Like, I'm like, why? Like, this sucks. But I get to go home for a month after I had the second one, just to like get a breather, get out of Arizona. Me and my wife had bought a house in January of 19. We got married in November of 18, bought a house in 19. So it was like we had this new house at home. We were starting to we had furnished it a little bit like during Christmas, or sorry, we bought it in January. We had furnished it a little bit after I got surgery in May. So, and then like we're home for that month, kind of furnishing it, doing whatever. And it's like we get to enjoy it and kind of get a breather away from Arizona. Then I come back out here and it's, just kind of going through it all over again. Like, it's like I can't lift weights. I'm in the brace, just kind of monotonous of, go to the field, do these exercises in the brace, let them massage it out. I wasn't a guy like some guys come out of the brace and it's like instant full range of motion. I was never that guy. Like, I came out of the brace and it's like, holy cow, each little bit that they unlock my brace, it was like, that's as far as I can go. Like, it hurts if you keep going, and, had to work on it. But go through it all again, get to spring training of the COVID year, not knowing what COVID is at the time. And then they cancel spring training, the season, all that. And so it's like, they're like, all right, just go home. And so we're out here, and me and my wife, we literally get a U-Haul trailer, put her car on it, and pull it with my truck all the way back to Florida from Arizona.
Good.
And so it's like miserable drive, by the way, never doing it again. Yeah, we got, COVID, got to spend at home. I was kind of already like, by that time, March of 20, it's like I'm 10 months in. So it's like I'm starting to throw and stuff. I got a throwing program. So when I go home, it's, it was nice. It was like a nice breather. Like, you can't really do much because of COVID, but I'm getting to live at home. All my buddies that, play baseball and live around where I'm from, they were home. So it was like, wake up, go work out, go throw. It was almost like an off season, like, schedule. And so it was nice. It definitely helped. Like, I would, obviously send video to the training staff, stuff like that. And, but I think COVID really helped just by like getting out of Arizona of the same thing every day. It was like, all right, well, now I get to go, like, it's like an off season, just in the middle of the summer instead of in the middle of the winter.
Good
And
Lord.
So, yeah. And then, 21, I come into spring training ready to go. I go to Instructs 2020 and like I'm on the mound. And so that was like, felt good. Got to go home for a normal off season, come in 2021, normal full go out of rehab.
Good.
Break with High A Hickory. I go there, and that was the year where like big league spring training, minor league spring training were not together at the same time. It was like, I think minor league spring training, we started like I don't think our season started until like May. So it was like April, I think, when we came out for spring
Yep.
training, something like that. And went to high A, threw pretty well, good enough to, get called up to double A halfway through the season. Go there, struggle bad, like body's just, it's like first full season essentially. My body is in shambles. And I'm like, holy cow. And go to the off season, come in 22, stronger, got a full season under my belt, body feels better than it ever has. Go back to double A for 2 months, throw well, go to triple A. Had like started off really good, had like 3 starts in a row that were kind of rough, and then got back on track. And then somebody got hurt in the big leagues and got called up in August of 22.
That's awesome. What was that call like? How did it happen?
Freaking nervous. I was bawling my eyes out. Like I was like, I was in Round Rock, and my wife travels with me. And so we were in Sugar Land. It was a Tuesday. Sugar Land is like 2.5 hours from Round Rock. So me and my wife just drove her car to Sugar Land, and she was going to spend the week since it was so close. And, go through a normal day, Tuesday. It was actually Dallas Keuchel was making his first start with Texas in Sugar Land. It was him versus Lance McCullers in Sugar Land. It was pretty cool like matchup. And we go watch the game, come in after the game, and then we sit down. My manager in Round Rock at the time, he was like, hey, like quick team meeting, I got something to say. And everybody's kind of like, everybody knew that somebody, like one of the starters in the big leagues, had gotten hurt, but the team meeting was like, I don't know if it's about that. Like nobody really knew. And we sit down, and he starts like telling a story about like, everybody's got a different road, all this stuff. And then he like says something, and I knew it was directed towards me. Like it was like, there's nobody else in the room that's had this kind of thing happen.
Yeah.
And my heart starts like racing. I'm like, holy cow, like it's happening. And then my wife's obviously there. So I call her, and then I'm freaking just nervous wreck, start crying my eyes out. And then that night it's like, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to sleep. Like they had a day game the next day, Texas did. So we were in Sugar Land. It was like 3.5 hours. It was like 11 p.m. We just packed our stuff and drove to Dallas, got in at like 2:30 in the morning. I was like, I'm not going to be, it's either I sleep for like 3.5 hours after I get there, or I'm going to lay here and have to wake up at 6 a.m. and get like an hour of sleep. So, but yeah.
Where were the nerves at your first outing in the big leagues?
Super nervous all the way until I stepped on the field to play catch pregame. And then it was just kind of like this, like relaxing, like, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. This is what you dream of. It's like, obviously nerves, but like a calming nerves. But prior to getting out there, I'm like, my hands are shaking, like extremely nervous.
Yeah. We got a couple fun questions for you before we finish up. First,
all right.
Favorite stadium that you've gotten to play in so far in your career?
Wrigley.
What, just
every
time
I've been to Wrigley, it's been the perfect weather, like blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, sun's out, it's like 75 degrees, and it's sold out. Every
just
time
wait
I've gotten
until y'all inevitably will end up there in like early April or something, and it'll be a bit different.
Yeah. Or I take that back. I went there early in the year with Texas last year, and it was cold, but it was like no clouds, sun out. So it was like once you got out there, you kind of like you broke a sweat pretty quick.
Yeah.
But it's just always been the nicest weather when I've been there.
What about the contrary? Least favorite stadium you've gone to?
Oakland.
Yeah. That's 90% of the answers. It's either always Oakland or somewhere where a guy just gets like rocked or can't get a knock anytime he's there. It's one or the other.
Oakland. I will say I like Oakland's mound because it's huge.
What is something that most baseball fans do not know about Cole Ragans?
Most baseball players, I feel like, are pretty good at golf. I am absolutely terrible at golf. Like, it's very bad.
Have you ever? I have a lot of buddies that throw left-handed that golf right-handed. Maybe you're golfing on the wrong side. Do you golf
Yeah,
left or right-handed?
I golf left-handed, but I do a lot of stuff like I write right-handed, eat right-handed.
Switch it around.
Anything underhand is right-handed. It's like the only thing lefty is like anything overhand, anything I swing, and anything I kick.
Maybe you're just golfing on the wrong side of the
Yeah.
tee.
I've tried to golf right-handed, and I mean, it really can't be any worse than I golf left-handed, but it feels worse.
What are for yourself personally, what would you say your career goals are?
I mean, obviously, biggest one would be win a World Series where, I'm a part of it. I get to, be there. I get to pitch in the World Series,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I mean, winning is fun. Like there's nothing compares to just winning. It's you're winning, you're having a blast. It doesn't matter what's going on. It's unbelievable feeling.
Dude, by the way, your teammates now with my guy Vinnie P went to ODU like I did. How much of a character is that guy?
Oh, Vinny's the man. We and him actually have got to face each other a few times in lives this spring so far, and it's always great.
That's
It's because
awesome.
I faced him in Double A in 21, and I could not get the guy out.
Yeah, but you didn't have a slider yet.
Yeah, yeah, for real. I was like, golly, dude, I'm throwing this guy like up and in, and he's just filleting me over third base for doubles. I'm like, God. But yeah, he's awesome. He's
Cole,
awesome.
I appreciate you for joining me, man. This has been a lot of fun. Good luck in spring training. Good luck when you break camp with the team. Rooting for you, and always a friend of the pod, man. Come back on whenever you want.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This has been awesome. I appreciate it.
Thanks again to Cole Ragans for joining. Big fan of his. Big fan of his. Didn't know a ton about his journey through the minors, but hearing the Tommy John and getting back to the point where you're like, I don't know. I've been around a lot of guys going through that journey, and right as you get close to the end of it, when the light at the end of the tunnel is there, you can just see their whole demeanor change. So for him to get to that point and then have it happen all over again, and then get to the point, and then COVID hit. It's just like a wild, wild journey for him, and really, really rooting for him and his success. Really pumped he had such a good second half last year, and hope he continues that. And if he does, he's going to be in contention for some Cy Young awards in his career for sure. So hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify. Hit that subscribe or follow button. It really helps. Also can watch wherever you want to watch, YouTube, Spotify, and we're on all social media at Flippin Bats Pod for all of them. But that does it for this episode, my friends. Until next time, thank you all for listening.